Yeah, peace and greetings to the East, to all Freemasons everywhere throughout the universe. I'm your brother, Majesty Montanez, and this is the channel Illuminati Light. So, in this episode, I'm going to swerve a little bit from what I talked about in the last couple of episodes. In the last couple of episodes, we dealt with the Book of Ruth as far as esoteric Masonic Bible study, and I'm going to continue with that, but I'm just doing this episode as a side endeavor because I received an email from one of the brothers, and I'm going to touch upon it right now. The question came to me from the brother G. Smalls, who's from Good Hope Lodge, number 376 in South Carolina. So he asked me, he said, brother, I have a question. I have been searching for some more knowledge concerning the cable talk. Most brothers I speak with pretty much say the same parrot response, but I'm looking for more. It can't just be the length one is willing to go. Do you have any enlightenment you could share? My search continues. So, let's get into this. The brother asked, is there any more light that we can share? Of course. That's why this channel is called Illuminati Light. Before I begin to get into this, I told you I'm going to be recommending different books, right? One of the books I'm going to recommend, and I'll touch upon it if y'all want to know about it, is this book here, The Secret School of Wisdom. It deals with the rituals of the Order of the Bavarian Illuminati. And I'm going to recommend this book because certain viewers of the channel asked me about the Illuminati, because the channel is called Illuminati Light. And I'll do an episode on that, without question. The author of the book, or rather the editor, but you can say the author, is Brother Joseph Wages. So the book is called The Secret School of Wisdom. It will give you all of the degree work, etc. of the Bavarian Order of the Illuminati, which was a Masonic order a few hundred years ago. So I'm not going to get into that now, but I just mentioned that in passing. So now let's get into the cable talk. Brother G asked, as I mentioned, what is the symbolic meaning of the cable talk? Now, our brother Tony Hawkins, he just did an episode, a live stream episode, maybe a day or two ago about that. And you can check out his channel, which is John G. Jones Research on YouTube. Check it out, of course. But I'm going to do an episode now on our channel, Illuminati Light. So let's get into the cable toe. The cable toe in Freemasonry is a rope. It's pretty much an ordinary rope that you would see or come across. It consists of 3 strands, normally. It's just a rope. And it's a symbol of Freemasonry. So I'm going to get into the esoteric meaning because, as Brother G stated, he's come across a lot of so-called brothers who couldn't explain meaning. And 9 out of 10 times that's because you have so-called social club Masons who don't understand Masonry and try to profess to be Masons, but they're not. So they don't understand what it means. So let's get into it. The cable toe is a rope. An ordinary rope you would normally see in life. So in order to understand the symbolic meaning of the cable toe, let's first break down the word a little bit, or the term cable toe. Why do we call the rope a cable toe in Freemasonry? Very simple. The term cable toe is composed of two words, cable and toe. A cable, as you know, is a rope. Simple, it's a rope. The word toe means to pull or to tug. Now, in literal masonry, remember that Freemasonry is the ancient mysteries taught through the symbolic use of the ancient craft of literal masonry. So in literal masonry, which is building, building things, the rope is a tool. The cable toe is a tool. So when you're studying Freemasonry, a lot of the symbols that you come across are emblematic tools of Freemasonry. You have to remember this. So the rope or cable toe is a tool in literal masonry. A rope has many uses, which I'm going to get into. But before I get into that, in Freemasonry in general, all of the tools of Freemasonry are symbolic of the mind. Whether that's the plumb, the level, the square, the trowel, all of the tools of Freemasonry are symbolic of your mind and the many faculties or powers of your mind. You have to keep that in mind. So the cable toe is no different. And the rituals of the 3 degrees, don't think that the rituals encompass all of the degree work. The rituals are part of each degree. So in the rituals of each of the 3 degrees, you'll see the cable toe. In the first degree of Freemasonry, generally speaking, and this is relative to your jurisdiction, in the first degree, the cable toe is tied around your neck when you're prepared for initiation. In the second degree, it's tied around your right arm, usually, and it differs depending upon your jurisdiction throughout the world. In the third degree, the cable toe is tied around your midsection. So in the first degree, the cable toe is tied once, in the second degree, twice, and in the third degree, 3 times. There's a reason for that. So when you're prepared for initiation, passing, or raising in the 3 degrees, the cable toe or rope is tied around a certain part of your body a certain number of times to express something to you symbolically relating to the stages of your initiation. So I'll get into that. Give me a second, I'll get into that. So in general, the cable toe or the rope is a tool in literal masonry, and in symbolic masonry, which is Freemasonry, is used as a symbol. Literally speaking, a rope is used for many reasons. One of the reasons is to measure things. You can tie knots in a rope and measure things using a rope to build, literally. A rope is used for pulling things towards you. It's used for ascending, meaning you could tie a rope to a high plane and use it to climb up. A rope is also used to bind things, right? So the rope, long story short, or the cable toe is symbolic of the mind, as I stated in the beginning. In other words, the mind is like a rope. When you're dealing with speculative masonry, which is Freemasonry, you're dealing with the science of the mind, mental science. That's why Freemasonry is called speculative masonry. You're dealing with the mind. So the rope is emblematic, or the cable toe is emblematic of your mind. That's what you have to know in the beginning. When you see that the rope or the cable toe is composed of 3 strands, that's because the mind is composed of 3 aspects: active energy, passive energy, neutral energy, right? So the rope is emblematic of your mind. So let me get into that a little bit to give you a better understanding as a Mason. In the first degree of Freemasonry, ritualistically, the cable toe is tied around your neck You're binded, right? In a negative way. And the rope being tied around your neck or the cable tow in the first degree of masonry is to teach you that when you come into masonry in the first degree, you're like a dead man. You're spiritually dead. So the rope or the noose is around your neck. On a deeper level, it's meant to teach you that when you first come in, your power of expression is held back in a negative way because you don't yet know how to express yourself spiritually. So the rope is tied around your neck. When you take your obligation, meaning the oath, which is what makes you a Mason, the rope is loosened, it's taken off, and you're told in the first degree ritual that the cable tow is being removed from your neck because you're now being held by a stronger tie. And that stronger tie is religion, not in the exoteric sense, but in the esoteric sense. Because the word religion means to rebind or to bind back, to reunite. And you'll have to look into the etymology of the word religion, which comes from the Latin language. It comes from the Latin word religare, which means to bind back, to reunite. And the ultimate purpose of religion, not exoteric religion, but esoteric religion, is to reunite you, meaning the human being, with your true self, which is God. So once you take the obligation or the oath, the cable tow is taken from your neck and you're told that you're now held by a stronger tie, which is religion in the esoteric sense, right? So I'm going to progress. In the second degree ritual, the cable tow is tied around your arm twice. There's a reason for that. The right side of the body in the ancient mysteries represents the masculine aspect because the right side of the human body is more active, usually. It's the stronger side of the human. The left side is usually the weaker side, the more passive side, so it represents the feminine aspect of you. You have the masculine, the feminine, the spiritual, the physical. So in the second degree ritual, when the cable tow is tied twice around your right arm, that's to teach you that your action, right? Meaning the conscious pole of the mind, action, is to be restrained. You have to learn to restrain that before you can learn to work with the subconscious, which is symbolized by the feminine or the left side of the body. The same thing with the first degree, not the same thing exactly, but in the first degree, when the cable tow is about your neck, it's to teach you that you have to learn how to restrain your speech, meaning learn to restrain your thoughts, because every word is a reflection of a thought. So in the first degree, you learn to restrain your speech because it's going to make you better at controlling this, the mind. Right? And once you learn how to do that, the cable tow is removed so that you now have freedom to express yourself. And the same thing in the second degree. The cable tow is around the arm twice, the right arm, to show you that you have to learn how to restrain your conscious actions, meaning learn to work with the subconscious mind. And once you learn that the subconscious mind is the creator of your reality based upon what the conscious mind gives to the subconscious mind, you can then remove the cable tow or that restraint and create freely. In the third degree, the cable tow is tied 3 times around your midsection, the solar plexus. And that's because the solar plexus is the seat of the subconscious mind, and also it is the seat of appetite. So when the cable tow is tied 3 times around the midsection, the solar plexus, that's to teach you that you need to learn how to restrain your appetite. You have to know how to fast. If you read the Bible, which is esoteric, it'll tell you there in the New Testament that when the character Jesus, who's symbolic of yourself, was raising people from the dead, taking demons out of people. He says in the book that great demons can only be extracted from the body through fasting. So he taught fasting, which is restraint of the appetite. So that's as far as I'm going to go with how the cable toe is tied around your body and the rituals of the 3 degrees. So the cable toe overall is emblematic of the mind. It's a tool of masonry, just as the trowel is, just as the square is, just as the plumb is, etc. So even when you hear reference made to the cable toe and the obligations, for example, you will aid and assist all brother masons or sister masons if it's within the length of your cable toe. That represents the measure of your mind. The cable toe is emblematic of yourself, which is mind. So you can only aid and assist every brother or sister based upon your level of knowledge. Plain and simple. If you study, let's say, ancient Eastern religions, particularly Buddhism, Hinduism, even Taoism, you'll see that there are certain parables that deal with the snake, and which compare the snake to a rope. So in these parables, you'll see a story given where an individual who is in the darkness cannot distinguish between a snake and a rope because that individual is in darkness. The snake or the serpent in the ancient mysteries is also emblematic of the mind, because a serpent is not governed by emotion. A serpent uses the mind. A serpent also sheds its skin, and that's emblematic of the true self, which is the mind. All energy is always recreating itself. So as an initiate, you have to be governed by the mental principle, by logic, by reason. That has to rule over your emotions. And this is why when you study ancient Egyptian religion, you'll see that the serpent is sacred to the ancient Egyptians. Whether it's on their headdress or in a number of different manners. So the cable toe is emblematic of the mind. Very simple. And when you master the mind, you know how to use the cable toe. You know how to relieve your brothers. The mind can bind you, meaning restrain, or it can set something free. So in masonry, the cable toe is symbolic of the mind. That's what it is. So with that, that's just a little short lecture for all of y'all, all of my brothers. Peace. Remember, I'm going to put the link in the description again in regards to the different courses that I give. The Master Key System, Masonic Philosophy, Hermetic Philosophy, so on and so forth. With the Master Key System, if you're interested, the Master Key System deals with the creative power of thought. It's 24 lessons. So if you're interested, the link is going to be in the description. So with that, I hope I've answered the brother's question. And leave me comments and I'll answer them. You know, all of the tools of Freemasonry are symbolic of the mind, because man is mind. Woman is mind. That's the law of mentalism, or the law of mind, one of the 7 Hermetic principles. So any of the Masonic tools are symbolic of this, and it's different aspects. Same thing goes for the cable toe. So the mind has the power to bind, it has the power to unbind. Everything that a rope does, the mind does symbolically. Simple as that. So get back at me with any comments, questions, etc. And I'll see you on the next episode. On the next episode, I'm going to continue with the Book of Ruth. It's esoteric meaning. So let me know if you want to see me shoot any other episodes on the channel. Let me know. We're going to do that. So before I get out of here, shout out to my brother, Knowledge, Blue Majestic Lodge number 347. My brother, Terrell, Blue Majestic Lodge number 347. My brother, Kali, Blue Majestic Lodge number 347. Most Worshipful Egyptian Pyramid Grand Lodge of New York. Shout out to my brother, Tony Hawkins. John G. Jones Grand Lodge of California, of which I'm a member. Shout out to all the brothers and sisters, man. I'm out of here. Peace. Enjoy your night.